Hello everyone, happy Friday. My name is Jim Wendler. I'm the author and creator of 531. And welcome to the live stream where I answer whatever questions you want. So if you have a question, please ask in the chat on the side of your screen there. As always, if someone could throw me a thumbs up in the comment section to make sure that everyone can hear me and see me and all that stuff, because I've been very lucky the last few times, but I never know how technology is going to treat me. So if someone could please say something in the chat section ASAP, it would give me great pleasure. Okay, here we go. We are going to start with our two albums as always. I'm trying to make this a regular thing. One of these albums is normal and one is far from normal. So here we go. The one that's far from normal, the band is called Portal. This album is called Swarth. The Portal are from Australia. They firmly are entrenched in what you would say the death metal genre, but I don't know how. They are definitely not normal death metal. It sounds like absolute hell and chaos that is recorded in a cave. If you are familiar at all with H.P. Lovecraft, this is the oral equivalent of being in an H.P. Lovecraft nightmare. Unbelievably weird. And I like to say either you love Portal or, whoops, I'll get my hand over there. Either you love Portal or you simply don't get it. I can't imagine anyone in the metal world hating this stuff. I think it's some of the most creative, inventive stuff in the world. It does not sound normal. And I'm going to tell you, when you first hear it, it's going to sound like absolute chaos. And I always thought that too. And then I had the very good fortune of seeing Portal live. They came to Maryland Death Fest, and man, it was the anticipation to see Portal was insane. And I'm telling you, what you hear on recordings is what they play. And so like there is some type of form and structure to this, even though it doesn't sound like it. My buddy Joey Waters, who loves Portal too, likens it to, imagine if the drums were filled with helium and they're rising at different lengths and you just have to hit them down sporadically. That's kind of occasionally what it sounds like. The guitarists play these insane chords and structures. It just sounds like hell. And the other thing is you got to see their live show just to see their outfits. The singer, who is called the Curator, always has a really weird costume. And when I tell you that one of his costumes was a black robe and he had a cuckoo clock on his head, it doesn't sound scary at all until you see it, and it looks fucking weird. So somehow, listen, if you don't like death metal, you're not going to like Portal. I will say this, but if you love death metal, extreme music, and you want something different, you can't go wrong with Portal. One of the big things that I loved about Portal was their production. It seemed to be a sticking point with some. Their earlier work, especially I think the first three albums that they put out, sounds to me as perfect as can be. The production value has gotten a little better as the years have gone by. I think it's to the detriment, but they can do whatever the hell they want. It's their band, right? Highly recommended if you're willing to experiment and listen to it with an open mind. I am telling you, Portal's amazing. I remember when I first heard it, I couldn't believe it. It was like, it's such a step away from what was being done. And I know a lot of people like to say, wow, they just took what Incantation were doing. And I've listened to Incantation for a long time. And while I can understand even Morbid Angel to a certain degree, Portal took it 10 steps further. Okay. This particular album came out in 2009. I think their first three albums are the best. They also, everything they do is awesome. And creative lyrics, everything is unbelievably done. The costumes, everything, the presentation. Absolutely love Portal. Anyway, okay, the second one. Now this, what I believe is the most criminally underrated band in the underground or extreme music. I don't think they ever got whether it was the push from the record company or anything like that, but I'm telling you, this band, you would classify them probably in the doom/sludge era, but I think they're so much more than that. They have little tinges of black metal. Unbelievable singer, got a good gruff voice, and then he could actually sing too. This is probably their first most accessible album. It's their third full length. The one after is probably the most accessible. But this band is called Unearthly Trance, and this album is called The Trident. Man, I think this probably came out in 2000. Man, I wish I would have looked this up. 2008 or something like that. Like I said, tremendous. It's a three-man band. I think all three members, especially as the years go on, get better and better. They write good songs. They don't just write a bunch of riffs and put them together. They write tremendous songs. I think the vocal phrasing is out of this world. And this album and Electrocution, again, easily the most accessible. I've seen them live probably 3 or 4 times, and I think they did a great job live. Like, there's no hiding with them at all. And I love their drummer. Absolutely love their drummer, especially, again, as the years go by. I think he gets better and better. Now, if you don't know whether or not to check this band out, again, it's Unearthly Trance. Listen to the first song on this album. It's called Permanent Ice. I think there's a video for it on YouTube. And tell me that it's just not an amazing song. And I got to see them perform that song live, and they've done absolutely awesome. Easily one of my favorite bands. This and Electrocution and In the Red, I've probably played a million times when I was training. Absolutely love this band. So highly recommended. Again, we got Portal, Swarth, and Unearthly Trance. Boop. The album's called The Trident. So huge fan. 2 absolute bangers today. And listen, like, maybe Portal isn't the best training music, but I love it. I listen to Portal all the time when I'm training. It just makes me so happy that someone's doing something so unique. All right, here we go. As always, let's get to the questions. Frank Leon, not sure exactly how to pronounce that, Frank, I apologize. He asks, hey Jim, I am working with the 5-through-1 Prilipin for a while, and it seems to work awesome. That is great for you, buddy. I mainly do 4 reps, 3s, and 2s. Okay, depending on the week and staying in the optimal amount of reps on the Prilipin chart. That is great. Very good. My question is, how would you modify it if a meet is planned? My thoughts were a 3-5-1 setup. Okay, on 3's week, I would do the minimal reps with the Prilipin chart and some singles after. On 5's week, the optimal reps within Prilipin and no singles. Okay, and on 5-3-1 week, again, the minimal reps and singles or working up a bit if feeling strong. Assistance, the same as always or a little less. Thanks for your time and weekly Q&A. I appreciate that, Frank. Have a good weekend. So this is what I would say, Frank. I think your setup is awesome. Just a couple things I would throw in is, one, on the weeks that you have a planned single, if you don't feel good, just cut it out. And the other thing is, I don't know if you read my article on 5-3-1 and Prilipin, but I give you, I believe it's a 5% plus or minus on each week. So if you feel a little good on that week, you can go up a little bit. If you don't feel, you can go down. All right. Obviously, you have the total rep ranges, which you have a good grasp on. But if you don't feel good on one of those singles week, just stop the singles. Or if you feel great on that 5's week where you're not supposed to do singles, go ahead and do them. The other thing, 2 other things I would say is, make sure the singles aren't maxes, so to speak. So, I mean, obviously it's not going to be the fastest bar in the world, but I don't need you to be maxing out all the time. All right, doesn't mean they can't be challenging, but just be smart about that. And number 2 is, make sure you're doing, for you, whatever proper assistance that seems to push those lifts. Okay, I think that's super important, especially as you get closer to the meet. When you're farther away from the meet, I think you need to use a wide variety of movements and really introduce your body into different stuff, working on different areas and stuff and different movements. So, but I think that's a solid plan, Frank. Good luck, buddy. And the one thing I answered this last week is, remember that when you're going to a meet, the most important thing is you just come in feeling good. So you're not like, don't do the meet like 8 times before the meet, but just understand that the most important thing is all the time leading up to the meet, not those like last 3 to 4 weeks where everyone's trying to peak. Just go in as strong as you fucking can and you'll be fine. All right, just be competitive. Learn how to flick that switch. Mark Bell calls it meat magic. I think that's super important. So you got to learn how to turn it on and just come in prepared, and then whatever is. Okay, so push. All right, here we go. Albert Wang says, hey Jim, what are your thoughts on just doing the training on what are your thoughts on just training the one main lift per day and assistants just weighted sit-ups and rows without taking rest days unless necessary? What are my thoughts on that? The only way I would even remotely think that's a good thing is if it's a challenge. You're trying to do something like, listen, I'm just going to try and finish 30 straight workouts in 30 days and then do sit-ups and rows. I don't think that's a very smart thing to do. One of the things that I think I did 28 workouts in 30 days. Every day was a boring but big. So I would do, upper, lower. And my only assistance was I would do 50 reps of chin-ups on my press day with a 45-pound plate. And then on squat and deadlift day, I would do 50 reps of dips with 45 pounds. So I tried it. I'm telling you, it was fun to do because it was a challenge, but I didn't get any better. I didn't feel any better. I didn't get any stronger, bigger, anything like that. I thought it was a fun thing to do. I just think it was a waste of time. But honestly, Albert, not the best setup. Again, unless you want to do it, you want to do some kind of challenge, you want to, give yourself a little jolt in the ass, so to speak. So, but yeah. Nick says, can you please help me understand supplemental work when choosing 5 sets of 5, 5 sets of 10, 3-8, FSL, SSL, or no supplement at all? What is the why behind these choices? Okay, so the reason why I use supplemental work with the people I train is we are just increasing our general physical preparedness. And for us, that means getting stronger and getting bigger and just increasing what I call just a general ass-kicking fitness phase. For some, I think it's really good for technique work, and obviously like the 5 sets of 5 would be good. For some, they get a lot out of the 5 sets of 10 with the hypertrophy, especially if you keep the rest periods fairly short, right? The metabolic style training that Nebraska made popular. And you can also do some supersets. I think the other reason people love doing that is it's especially the 5 sets of 10. It just kind of takes care of all the business, so to speak. It's very simple to do. But again, for me, it is just raising our general training and fitness level. We always do FSL work within our Cryptea style training. Whether we do sets of 5, 10, 8 just depends on the day and how the kids are performing. Obviously, if they can do the sets of 10, we will. But that is why we do it. So again, I don't do a lot of the FSL work with the athletes I work with. When we took it out, I didn't really notice a difference. That doesn't mean we're not going to try something out and try to do it in such a way that benefits them. So again, I do it for strength hypertrophy. Again, that's just GPP, right? For the people that I coach. And again, could help you with some technique work. Some people need it. It's, the 5 sets of 5, especially great for learning how to push fast and strong in every rep. So anyway, I hope that helps, buddy. Listen, that doesn't mean you have to do it, but that's why I still do it with all the people I work with for the most part, as long as they're obviously fit enough to do it. And since that's who I work with, they are generally fit enough to do it. But anyway, not applicable to everyone, just so everyone knows that. Adam Weithman says, good morning, Jim. I appreciate that, Adam. And Jeremiah, good morning, boss man. There we go. I appreciate it. Look at this. Craig O'Connell says, hey, boss, happy Friday. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate it. How would you program kettlebell swings for powerlifting, if applicable, or just more GPP? Okay, so here's a couple things. One, if for whatever reason kettlebell swings just drive up your squat and deadlift or whatever it is, whatever lift, I would keep them in, push them. And I don't know how people would program that. I'll be completely honest. If they just need to do higher reps, lower reps, I don't know, because that's never been my experience. So I never really farted around with it. However, when you're far away from a meet, I think you need to introduce a lot of different movements. And again, that would just, by definition too, the kettlebell swing will always be for GPP no matter what, because it is just general physical preparedness. It is not SPP, right? Because it's a different movement than a squat, bench, and deadlift. So I guess technically it's always going to be GPP. But far away from the meet, I think it's important, again, we talked about this many times, to have a wide variety of means in order to train and strengthen your body. And that's why, I think as long as we do the categories, you know, the push, pull, single leg core, stuff like that, and you can just throw stuff in and just have some fun and understand how to choose different movements. If you want to do them, you can. It doesn't matter that much. The only time I really think it matters, well, there's two things, is one, if one of those movements causes you pain or, you know, sucks for you for whatever reason. And number two is as you get closer to the meet, if that lift does not help and do something to help improve your chances at the meet, then you should throw it out. But far away from the meet, Craig, I think you should do a lot of it. I think you'd probably get a lot out of it because I know what you're going to do is you're going to pick up a kettlebell, you're going to do a couple swings, get the hang of it, and you're like, listen, I'm just doing sets of 30 and 50. I got, you know, 200 reps today, and I'm going to superset that with as many push-ups as I can and just raising your general physical preparedness. So I hope that helps, Craig. Just understand, by definition, kettlebell swings, regardless if it drives up your deadlift or not, will always be GPP because, again, it's not SPP because the SPP is the squat, bench, and the deadlift. Someone says, hey, I don't know how to pronounce that. I think that's Arabic, not sure. But hey, all right, there you go. And our buddy Space Battleship Alex says, hey, Jim, when were you introduced to black metal? For me, it was 1990-91 Metal Shop. A classmate, a skater, brought in a cassette tape and played it and told us all about their, I thought you said addicts, their antics. All right, so I guess it depends on what you call black metal. Obviously, when I was younger, Venom was massive. For me, it was anyway. Celtic Frost was always or Celtic Frost, was my favorite band, especially the Morbid Tales, I think, is untouchable still today. And obviously, to Megatherion, they lost me with Into the Pandemonium, and obviously, you know, Cold Lake is a whole other story. So I guess technically it was early on, and whatever that was junior high for me. But what I would say, like the second wave, was, oh boy, when I read in it, I guess it must have been, I bought a bunch of stuff from I Hate God. Remember, they were on Century Media, and they sent me a bunch of T-shirts and stuff. That's back when you could just send cash through the mail or whatever, or a check. And they sent me a catalog, and then they had like Hordani's Land, the split on there, you know, Emperor and Enslaved and stuff. That was the first black metal album I ever bought. And I understood it, I got it, but I was like, you know, whatever. And then I bought De Mysteriis Dom Satanis, and this was in 95. Both of these were in 95. And I remember putting that in, and I was absolutely blown away. I thought that was the best shit I've ever heard. And much like, I guess you could say, Portal, it was just a different world. I think Attila's vocals are untouchable. I think the musicianship on that is unbelievable. It's not horribly technical. It's done incredibly well, but it brings a aura and mystery. So I guess technically it would be, you know, late 80s, all right? And then 95 was when I got it really started. And that's when I get the catalogs and stuff. And we had a couple really good CD stores in Tucson that would have all that stuff. And I got so much shit, you know, like original pressings of, you know, Bursum and Dark Throne and stuff like that. So it was awesome. I loved it. So I like lived in two worlds, the sludge world and the black metal world, and I loved all of them. So, all right. Hey, Jim, I have a question about the 1 rep max after every cycle. You recommend that after every cycle, 5 pounds for the upper body and 10 pounds for the lower body. But the problem is in my country, oh boy, I lost my space. In my country, I use kilograms, and the 5 pounds is 2.5, which is at least weight in the gym. So do you recommend adding 10 pounds for the upper lifts, but after 2 cycles? Yeah. Again, it's not the 1 RM. We don't increase the 1 RM. We increase the training max. So yeah, you know, I would increase, maybe, yeah, you're exactly, you probably have to do that. Or you get your hands on smaller plates. That's what I originally did when I trained my youngest son, James. We had like quarter pound plates, half, a whole bag of them. So yeah, you could do that. You're just going to have to, and just please understand too, if that cycle doesn't go great, just stay with the same cycle, stay with the same weights or lower them. So make sure that you're doing the right thing. Just because you finish the cycle doesn't mean you have to go up. So, but I like your plan. I think that's solid. So when you go through it the second time, just try to break your PRs, all right? And if you're not doing it, if you're not breaking those PRs, I would stick with it until you are, especially on the upper body lifts, because a little bit goes like 10 pounds in the upper body, in the lifts, especially for the upper body, are going to add up very quickly. You have to be very smart about that. Very smart about that. And just remember, like, again, we have a kid on the London football team. We are putting together an in-season training thing for his to increase his bench. He's really hard-working kid, understands, will work his ass off. And so this entire 10-week cycle, we're not increasing the training max at all. We're just working within there and pushing the boundaries of what we can do within each week. And then I guarantee we're going to hit the cycle. We had him, he wants to do a certain weight for 5 reps. That's his goal. And I went up yesterday to have him hit a single. He was looking really good. It absolutely flew off his chest. I mean, flew off his chest. And I was like, oh my God. I didn't want him to do any more. I just wanted him to get a taste of it. And then ended up absolutely having a terrific training session. So I know we are on the right track. But the point is, you don't always, the goal isn't just to increase the training max. The goal is to have a good training session where you get stronger and better and you're just overall awesomeness raises up. Don't get so wrapped up in what the training max is or what the bar weight is. Get wrapped up in having great sets, great reps, great workouts, and building muscle. V. Calf says, hey Jim, having been influenced in the past by Ripito training philosophy, heavy limit sets of 5, I can't still wrap my mind that 5 sets of 5 at 75% or 5 sets of 3 at 85% is enough to elicit adaptions. Okay. I don't know what you want me to say there. Here's more to it. I absolutely believe now that is enough, and I have changed my mind, but I would like an explanation. Thank you so much for your sharing and knowledge. Okay. So the explanation, man, is your body, how do I put this? Listen, a lot of this stuff is bananas to me because I have watched kids maintain the same training max over and over again. I'm telling you, no one believes me. Their sets in the deadlift were 225, 245, and 265. We just waved between those. We did that for 12 weeks. Their deadlift goes up like 55 pounds. It's the most insane thing. I don't understand why that happens, but I think what it is, your body just needs some work. It doesn't have to be limit work all the time or even much of the time. It has not been my experience. If that was the case, I would have never squatted 1,000, ever, because most of my weights leading up to the squatting 1,000 were around, what is it, like 455, 500 pounds at the bottom of a box when we do our box squats. What I'm trying to say is the adaptation happens just stacking good days. It doesn't happen that you set a PR or you did 5 extra pounds or 1 extra rep. I'd like to think that. I thought that until I started working with people, and I've seen it happen more times than not. We keep the reps solid. We always are pushing our assistance work. We're just stacking good days and good days. The more that we try to push too hard, the kids got too tired, the form went to shit. I always want those reps done perfect all the time. If I see any wiggle room, we're not moving up until you can perform every rep fast, strong, and perfect. So again, I don't know, I can't really change your mind because like some of this shit I don't understand because it flew in the face of everything I was taught. You got to do X more. You got to do this more. You got to do that more. And then we do the same thing over and over again and just raise our general physical preparedness, and then everyone gets stronger. And we're never worn the fuck out. And it was the most insane thing, and I've seen it happen over and over and over again. Listen, the other thing, Cal, is I don't know if that's right for you, okay? Because I've had plenty of kids who don't like doing it, and they've ended up believing in it because they end up working for them. But if you don't believe in something and don't wholeheartedly believe in the process, then it's never going to work for you. It's not going to work for you, all right? And again, I think doing that style, any style of training that's like, listen, we're just going to try and add this and add this and add this. It can work. It has worked. It has worked for millennia. God, what was that movie? Oh, the first Sherlock Holmes movie. What is his name? Lord Black. Oh my God, my wife calls him Lord Darkthrone. Speaking of black metal, so I don't know why it works. I just think that in order to get stronger, this is my best explanation. You just need to stack a lot of good days upon a lot of good days. Those days don't need to be record-breaking days. Okay? That's all I can say. And I'll be honest, I don't care why it works. It just works. And when I watch a kid lift, now I'm not saying I'm like the best coach, because I'm far from that. I constantly make mistakes. I can look at a kid and I can see this is about the weight that they need to be doing based on how the bar moves. I know the kids fairly well. And as long as it's moving very well, we're about where we want to be. I don't worry about what's on the bar. If we can go up, fuck, we'll go up. If it looks too light, we're going to go up. If it doesn't, we're going to stay right where we are, and we're just going to keep on doing good days after good days. And the most important thing, I'll be honest, is we are never worn out. Doesn't mean we don't work hard. Doesn't mean the kids aren't sweating. I'm losing my voice right now. I'm getting fired up because I love working with the kids. I love seeing their success. It just means that when we're come back to work out and run and stuff like that, the kids are fine. Oh my God, my voice. And I got a coach tonight. Holy shit. So I don't know if that helps you out, man. All I know is it works. It works. So, and the other thing is, the stuff that we've been doing privately in the weight room, and we've been cutting down on rest periods and doing all kinds of crazy shit. When we have good days, we just work up and make sure we have good days. If not, we're just maintaining those good rest periods, good solid reps. 100% time, our kids get bigger and stronger. It's unbelievable. But I think there's something to be said about training in such a way, what I call just training to be a pipe hitter, not just be a fat fucking dude who can squat 500 pounds. The better shape you're going to be in, the more you learn how to push through those workouts with those kind of... Now, the rest periods, you shouldn't be compromising your technique and form. The goal is you train within that capacity, right? And then learn how to lower it. And then once it gets to a certain point and you're in fairly good shape, now we learn how to push the assistance and the main lifts within that framework. And I'm telling you, it works. And I wish someone would have taught me this shit too. It drives me nuts because I feel like I wasted some time. I mean, I did all right, but let's just be honest. I could have done a lot better, especially for training for what I would call ass kickiness. Not so much powerlifting, but, for football and other sports. Listen, the better I get the kids at doing that in our garage, everything else gets better. Their running, their sprints, their conditioning, everything gets better because they're in just better physical shape. So... it's not just strength. It's just the entire cosmos of fucking ass kicking. You're just becoming a pipe hitter, and it works. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, I'll get all wrapped up here. Good morning, boss, says Osiris. Follow up, we skipped bench day last week to do our Buddy's Brothers Memorial Workout, year 3 of the workout. That's right. Half mile of bear crawl plus a bunch of other stuff. A crew of 5. That was, I think you did... Oh my God, I can't remember what it was. It might have been like a half mile bear crawl and like squats, push-ups, and chin-ups or something like that. But that sounds absolutely miserable. I couldn't imagine a half mile bear crawls. Just 100 yards. I'm sure a lot of you guys have played sports where like you get in trouble or you mouth off or whatever. You got to do a down and back the football field, which is 200 yards of bear crawls, and it stinks. Half mile is significantly worse. So good for you, man. And I'm sure, dude, you were, listen, I'll say this. I'm sure it sucked the entire time. I'm sure it was awesome doing with your bros. Like there's nothing better than the brotherhood of misery, right? Anyone who's served in the armed forces knows that the brotherhood of misery is an unbreakable bond. So that is awesome. But I think you just become a better person when you push yourself physically and mentally. It puts you in a place where I think you have a lot of gratitude. I always thought hill sprints for me were like the best in understanding. Like I didn't take anything for granted because it was so miserable for me, my legs and my lungs, and I just felt like I was dying all the time. So when I was done, I'm like, thank you, God, for air conditioning. Thank you for seats in my car. Thank you for oxygen. All right, here we go. Angelo Mancini. I used to go to high school with a girl with the last name. I believe it's Mancini. I would assume that's how you pronounce it, Angelo. Does your grandma make good sauce or gravy? That's what Italians call their pasta sauce, gravy. Fucking crazy to me. Anyway, Angelo, let me know if your grandma makes good Sunday gravy. All right, when doing safety squat bar good mornings, do you try to minimize knee bend? And how do you typically determine depth? I usually try not to round my lower back. I'm using the movement to strengthen my low back. Okay, so a couple things. You kind of want to minimize knee bend, but you certainly do not want straight legs. All right, so there's going to be like a weird optimal amount. You know when you bend too much, all right, is when you squat the weight up. So when you use your quads to get the weight up, you'll know. All right, so you see it when people do straight leg deadlifts and RDLs, the same thing. Once the weight gets a little too heavy, you get a little fatigued, they end up kind of squatting the weight up and not using their hips and back and hamstrings to lift it. So that's number one, okay? So yes, you want some knee bend, it's just not a ton. Number two, how do you typically determine depth? This is gonna vary quite a bit, but you'll feel, this is why you need to learn and just practice with light weights. There's gonna be a point, you need to learn to practice with light weights because you need to fuck up a little bit is what I'm trying to say. Is you go down and you're gonna feel like a point where things are just gonna round too much, okay? And you just wanna come up before that. Now, with the good morning, especially the safety squat bar, I didn't go terribly heavy on that. I used it where I could round a little bit because your back needs to round a little bit. I wouldn't load it terribly heavy. So the depth is gonna be determined basically on how you're able to maintain what you believe is the proper back. How do I put this? So you're not candy caning. It's gonna be some rounding, but you don't want a candy cane. So it's gonna be hard to figure out. So the other thing, Angela, is don't get wrapped up like I need to go super deep. You go as deep as you possibly can without breaking, and you'll know once you start adding some weight and you start going down, you're gonna start to feel things start to move. You gotta come up before that. The only thing I would say, and this is what I've learned, is you gotta learn. I always handled weights that if I got out of position, I could get it back up, okay? Hey-o. All right, whether that means you fall into a squat and just squat it up, or the weight is light enough where even if you get a little wonky, it's not gonna hurt you. And you gotta develop, that's gotta come slowly. So again, start light, progress slow. And I'm a huge fan of the good morning. I think the good morning, if you do it correctly, is one of the best things for your squat and deadlift if you have a weak low back and weak posterior chain, right? But I think there is a point of diminishing returns with that. So as an example, let's say you work up and you get up to, and as you're doing the good morning, your squat's going up, like let's say we got just 12 months. It's a relatively short amount of time. And your squat and deadlift are increasing. For me, the deadlift skyrocketed because my low back was the weak link. So let's say you get up, your deadlift goes up 70 pounds, you're doing 225 for 10. Then you end up training harder and harder and you end up doing 275 for 10 and your deadlift goes nowhere. You've kind of reached the limits of what the good morning can do for you, and your goal is just to try to maintain that and find another movement that allows you to increase your deadlift is the best way to say it. Now, when I say maintain it, doesn't mean you have to do 225 for 10 all the time. It just means you keep on doing good mornings. Again, just do some maximal work. Try to maintain that strength, and then find something else that helps increase your deadlift, whatever that might be. So I hope that helps. Again, I don't know. You determine depth by the breaking point. Best way I can say it. Chris D says, hey Jim, with your recent post on the forums about being able to do hang cleans again. No, I have not been able to do hang cleans again. I had people do them, so not me. Do you plan to return to the barbell, or do you have a plan to continue with walrus and include some barbell work? I guess I have no plans of going to that way. I don't know, but I'm not sure. I must have worded something wrong. I had posted something about using the Krypteia style training with hang cleans, and if people wanted to try something out, I had some ideas. I will not be able to test this out until next summer, unfortunately, with some of the kids I work with. So yeah, my plans are just to keep on doing what I'm doing and try to get healthy. That's my plan, is to get healthy. That's my number one goal. I don't worry about anything else other than trying to get healthy. So if that means, I want to bench press one day, then I guess I'll bench press. But right now, zero. Don't really care about that stuff. I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest. I just do what I can training-wise because of my injuries, and then I just want to get healthy. So, all right, Nathan Hunzecker says, good morning, Jim. Well, good morning, Nathan Hunzecker. Oh, my God. That last name. I'm trying to think. It's from a movie. Anyway. First off, thanks for introducing me to Generation of Vipers. Awesome band. Oh, what a great band. Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, here he says, I've been doing DeFranco style training, but max effort work is wearing on me. Yep. How would you program the main lifts and assistance to keep joint stress down while keeping strength? Well, it depends on how you do. This is going to vary. So you can do the 5-3-1 program, right? It's all sub-maximal weight, so that's number one. Or you can use the 5-3-1 program and use the Prilipin, 5-3-1 Prilipin. And that's what I would probably recommend, at least in the beginning, and then you can go back to the regular 5-3-1 program. The other thing is, again, the 5-3-1 program, but cap the top sets at a certain number. Whether it be, 10 reps, 15, whatever it is, that way you can ease off. Or, oh my God, use the 5-3-1 program and just do a 10 total reps at the top set, for example, and never go over 5 so that the bar speed is really solid. It's very much Prilipin style, obviously. So that's what I would recommend. And you can do any of those and just be fine. Just make sure your training max is like 85%, no higher than 85%. Be smart. And the other thing, push your assistance work. And again, that make sure your assistance work is done well and not just, if you're having joint pain, increase the eccentric. You're really just wearing down the muscle, so to speak, and not wearing down your joints. Learn how to do each and every rep independently. I think that's a huge understanding. That's what we do when I work with people in the garage. We don't just get through the set. We do the set perfect. We don't just pump up and down. It's down, hold, squeeze, up, hold, squeeze. When we're doing like kettlebell squats or dumbbell squats, or whatever the hell they call them. Sorry, goblet squats. So that's what I would probably recommend. There's a lot of variations. You can watch this or listen to that back. But yeah, that's what I would certainly recommend. The other thing is, if a certain lift, for whatever reason, is bothering you, just switch to another lift. So let's just pretend your shoulders are killing you. So what I would do, benching's hurting. So I would, for example, do an overhead press on Monday, do your lower body assistance. I assume this is exactly what you're doing. Lower body main lift on Wednesday. And then on Friday, for example, if this was your shoulders, your main lift would be the pull-up. And then that would be so you're not doing as much heavy pressing. So. All right, here goes. Jonathan Crossley says, hey, work's gotten crazy. Oh, my good friend, Jonathan Crossley. He says, I need to get signed up for the forum today to log my walrus challenge. That's awesome, man. I saw you had a whole bunch of challenges and standards in the Forever book. I think there are hidden gems too. Yep, there's some awesome challenges. What did I do? I still got to do my 500 pull-ups in a day. I'm not looking forward to that. My hands are not ready for that, so I got to work up to that. Last year I did the 100 rows of stairs in a day workout. I should say it was miserable. But what's crazy is the other day I was feeling good when I was climbing the stairs. I wasn't in a ton of pain. I ended up doing, this is singular to me and where I live, but I did 60 rows in under 60, or 60 rows, not rows, but climbing rows in less than 60 minutes. And it's... But when I got to like 15, I was like, this sucks because I feel really good because I know I have to push hard. And then I got to 25 and 30. That's usually what I do. I just do short workouts generally, unless something's crazy. And I got to 30. I'm like, oh, I know I can push harder. My old record was 50 in less than 50 minutes, so less than a minute per. And then I got to 50. I'm like, oh, I know I can push to 60. I probably could have pushed a little harder, but I'll leave that PR for another day. So listen, if I can do a challenge within my workouts, if I feel really good, I will try it. But I think it's important. I don't think you need to do them all the time. Jonathan, you're versed in this. The other thing, Jonathan, I think would be really good for you is go to a YouTube page called Mountain Tough. They have a whole bunch of crazy training challenges in there. And all you do, Jonathan, is look at it. You're smart enough to figure this shit out. Look at it, say, listen, this doesn't really what I want to do, or I don't want to do this, or I can't do this, but I know what I can do. And then you start riffing off that. That's exactly what I do. That's all I do. And then I just use, we have a half-mile thing. So everything that we do, like crazy conditioning-wise, is half mile or a mile or 2 miles or whatever. So the other thing, this is my current challenges until November. I'm having a social media blackout. I will go on here. I will answer questions. I will post on Instagram, but I'm done with social media. And what's crazy is, and I know this is not exactly why, I, just like many of you guys, I don't always have the best sleep. Man, last night, it's been, I think, 2 or 3 days, I've just stayed off all social media, nothing. I slept like a rock last night for the first time in a long time. So what is that? I don't know, a little over a month. I'm just done. I'm tired of it. I'm just going to focus on writing, focus on reading, focus on my training, focus on my family, focus on the kids that I'm working with. That's what I'm going to focus on. I'm done with it. So, and the other thing I get, when I'm dropping a deuce, man, I just read a book now. It's awesome. So, all right, here we go. Okay, Jonathan Crossley says PSA. To those weight vest fans, weight increases. Oh, is this true, buddy? Increases on the vest seem to really catch up to you quickly. I did my first session with 45 pounds as opposed to 22, and it absolutely kicked my ass. 100%, man. 100%. Hell, if you're used to doing stuff with body weight and you put a 20-pound vest on, it catches up quick. And for me, with like the push-ups, squats, stuff like that, the thing that really caught up was obviously the chin-ups. Your arms get tired, but it's the wind, so to speak, of the squatting and getting up and down off the ground with the push-ups. When you're doing like 50 rounds, it starts to add up really quick. So like Jonathan says, don't write off a 20-pound vest because you're too good for it. It will add up. It'll catch up. So when I do the stadiums, I went from 20 to a 45-pound vest. Oh my God, did it kill me. Oh, I was miserable. Thought I was having a heart attack. So, all right, here we go. Yes, Jonathan, I appreciate you chiming in, man. Thank you very much. Oh boy, did I lose my spot again. Craig, I appreciate you. Thanks, man. Answered my Q to the T. Ooh-wee. The pro says, good morning, boss. I'd like to ask, what are your hobbies except lifting? I'd probably say like the most noticeable hobby is playing music, playing the guitar, playing drums, all that stuff. So I got a little recording thing down in my basement, and I also, I'm playing a band, except, Joey lives like a million miles away, so we only get together a couple times a year. So yeah, that's probably my most. So I love writing music more than any. Like that's way more fun than covering anything. I think it's easy for me. Not to say it's easy, but it's relaxing and it's like fun for me, so I don't stress about it. I love doing stuff like that. Obviously, I read a ton. Let's see what else. I don't know. I don't really know. I love shooting guns. I mean, I'm not crazy like gun guy or anything, but we have a blast when I go out there with my buddies, or even if I go by myself. That's a ton of fun. say watching movies, but everyone likes watching movies. I love doing stuff like that. And you know, honestly, like whatever my kids want to do, whether it's Mason or James, like I'll be a fan of. That's like a hobby. So if they want to do something, you know, want to go somewhere and do something, man, that's to me is awesome. I like spending time with my family, whatever that would be. If that means we're sitting around playing video games, so be it. If that means we're at a park doing something crazy, then that's my hobby for the day. So, but yeah, definitely music and reading. So yeah, I appreciate it, the pro. I'm sure there's other shit in there. I never really think about stuff. All right, here we go. Boss man, I train 4 times a week and walk those days. Okay. Would I be able to do conditioning, carries, etc. on Wednesday and or weekend? Trying to lean out. Suggestions. Well, the only way you could answer this is, listen, if you're trying to lean out, man, you got to fix your diet. That's it. That's it. 1,000%. So if your goal is to lean out, can you do carries on Wednesday and other shit? Sure, you could. I don't know if it's going to affect your training, but that's certainly not a good roadmap to getting lean at all. 0. I'd rather have you rest and relax on those days or go for another walk and then cut down some of the calories, because that doesn't mean you can't work hard and try to lose weight, but you can't be eating like crap and then training hard and then wondering why, like, I'm not getting leaner. You're going to have to cut stuff out. So that would be my big suggestion. So can you? Maybe, as long as you can recover from it. But again, you're going to have to fix what you're eating, man. And it's not going to, you're going to get an initial weight loss, right? You cut out this, and this, and you try eating, and then it's going to stagnate, and then you're going to lose a little bit more and stagnate. That's why I think it's important you come up with a general training plan, come up with a general diet plan, and just be consistent and give yourself plenty of time. And give yourself some grace on the days that you fuck up too. So, but here's the other thing is don't be extending too much grace. That's the other thing. Like, don't beat yourself up if you had a piece of cake. Fucker, you've had cake 8 days in a row. Beat yourself up. You deserve it. Quit being a loser. So, anyway, Nick says, if training 3 times a week and going to give Kryptea a run, what's a good way to go? Just rotate main lifts over 9 days. Could you do it DeFranco style or the original with no press? You can do any of those, man. One thing that we do here is for one of the athletes, we have bench day on Monday, we have squat day on Wednesday, and then we have chin up day on Friday, unless he doesn't want to do chin ups that day, and then we do press day. So I just leave that open to whatever he wants to do. So I'm not terribly going crazy with that. But any of those, Nick, are going to be fine. And the other thing is, if you don't, I would rather see you do maybe, and again, I don't know how you feel. A lot of times you will feel better doing the DeFranco style. So, bench, trap bar or squat, and then press. And then you can just obviously pepper it with chin-ups on either of those days. Or if you want to do a main chin-up day, just use the press as an assistance exercise. Super easy to do. So there's a lot of things you can do. And I don't think you're going to have a wrong answer. And it doesn't mean you have to just stick to one. The key is you're doing good sets. You have good maintenance. You're pushing the assistance and being smart about that. But make sure in the beginning, I've said this before, you're resting enough to do the sets correctly. You're not trying to beat the clock. The goal is not to beat the clock. The goal is to do such a training session in such a way with such a high level of fitness that beating the clock comes naturally. Okay, I hope that makes sense. There's a big difference, huge difference. You got to let your body, your daily readiness determine your rest periods. Best way I can say it, and the simplest thing. All right. All right, here we go. Okay, I think I should work on my stamina. I have noticed lately that I get tired so fast after gaining 10 kilograms, dirty bulking, and I don't do cardio. How do you do cardio, and how do you eat? Well, the best way to do this would be, train 3 to 4 days a week, and then on the days off, you do some kind of cardio for, again, just to be super easy, walking up on a treadmill, riding a bike, 30 to 60 minutes, right? And on the days that you lift, once your body acclimates to that schedule, so again, you lift in 3 days a week, walking or riding the bike 4 days a week. Once your body acclimates to that, you can walk on the days that you lift or do some kind of weight vest thing or something that's not going to kill you. So that's how you do it. And then how do you eat? Well, you kind of know how to eat, right? What you just did there, just don't do that. Keep the protein high. Just look at your plate. You have a good protein source. You got some fruits and vegetables. You got a good carb source. If you need to lower your, if you need to lose some fat, just do your carb source, just half of it. Just eat half of it, or just cut it out. Just make sure your food doesn't look like shit. So you're not, for example, having Slim Jims, Doritos, and like some watermelon candy. That doesn't count as protein, carbs, and some fruit or vegetable. All right. So if, for example, let's say I eat, I'm just going to make this up, 4 servings of protein, 4 servings of carbs, and 4 servings, I'm just making this, or 2 servings of fruit and vegetables, whatever that means. I'm just assigning numbers. If I needed to lose weight and still get stronger, I would increase my servings. So let's say 5 or 6 of protein. I would lower my carbs to 2 instead of 4 and keep the fruits and vegetables the same. You understand that? So if you need to gain weight, you keep the protein the same, increase your carbs, keep the fruits and vegetables the same. It's a very simple formula, and I'm telling you, the best thing you can do if you don't know is eat foods that you know how to make, how do I put this, that are easily measurable. That's why I think rice is so awesome. It's easily measurable. Beef is easily measurable, right? Because it comes in 1 pound packs. You just cut it in half. Super easy, or cut it in quarters if you need to. Eggs, super easy to measure out. 4 eggs equals this. 2 eggs equals this. So the better choices you make as far as stuff you can measure, I think the easier diet gets. Because a lot of people be like, hey, I ate this and that. And it's like, how many grams of protein? I don't know, man. That's why I don't eat that. If I was getting really strict, I just won't eat it. I'll eat stuff I can measure. All right, it's not perfect. I know there's better ways of doing it. I just don't care. I'm just going to eat shit I can measure. So that's how I would recommend. When doing safety squat bar, good mornings, what do you usually do with the handles? Do you push down on them, push up, or just keep them neutral? Also, what do you do with your head position? Look down, neutral, or up? Handles, I just hold them. I don't know. I don't do any of this. So I guess neutral is the best way to say it. So the answer to the handles is neutral. What do I do with my head position? I just keep it. So if I'm standing up, my head's like this, I just maintain that. So I'm certainly not tucking my chin. No way. And I'm not yanking my head up and putting all that pressure on there. So it's just a neutral head. So the answer is neutral on question 1 and neutral on question 2. So there you go. I hope that helps, man. And just, again, Angela, listen, when you start doing them, just start with an empty bar and learn how to get comfortable with it. That's the most important thing when you're doing stuff like that. If you don't feel comfortable adding weight, just don't do it. Learn how. You got plenty of time, guys. Plenty of time. You don't need to do every good morning ever done in one workout. You don't need to load it. You don't need to find the special loading just yet. Hell, if you have to put a 10-pound plate on there and you feel, this is where, all right, I can, it feels good, just stick with it. Who gives a shit what it looks like? Angelo says, also, my mother makes amazing sauce. I appreciate all you do. I appreciate that, Angelo. It's not sauce. It's gravy. We had, when I grew up in the Chicago area, we had a lot of first generations, Italians, a lot of Irish, a lot of Russians, right? You grew up in that area. And we had family live right down that were really good friends that grew up in Italy. And then they always had pasta and sauce every meal. It was no matter what. No matter what. I always thought that was so cool. I love that food. But I was like, oh my God. Because God forbid you eat the same thing unless it's a leftover in our house. So anyway, here we go. Chris Ziegler says, hey, Jim, thank you for doing these. I appreciate it, Chris. I look forward to them each week. I have a great weekend. And he's got a flag, a lifter, and then the cross swords. You're not asking me to cross your wieners together, are you, Chris? Because that's fucking weird, dude. I'm not going to cross the streams, buddy. I don't care who you are. I appreciate that, though, Chris. Thank you. Brandon Fink says, I have started my first week of conjugate. Do you see a problem with using a training max on max effort days? I know it goes against the grain, but I've used my maxes from 531 for a starting point. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. To me, that's the fun of the conjugate training, is you just max out. The one thing I used to do though is, let's say you're floor pressing, you hit 405, and I just make sure I get generally about 5 lifts between 90% and above. So let's say you did 225, 275, 315, 365, 405. I just make sure I go back down and get at least 3 more lifts. What is that? Between 360 and 400, somewhere in there. Just make sure I get those reps. The other thing is, if I would go back again, I would do a ton of back off sets, supersetted with something like supplemental work. And, that can be whatever you want. So one thing I would probably do is, I love floor press. I would do work up the floor press, get my 5 or so lifts in at 90%. And then I would take off, I'd probably go to 225, throw some bands or chains on there, and just push the shit out of that, for higher rep sets. That's what I would have done, at least differently with my max effort work. And then just the other thing is I would body build more with my assistants. Everything, legs, ass, hamstrings. I mean, I did a ton of volume for hamstrings, so I can't really say that, but and my upper body too. So Suspense is killing me. Says, hey, what's up, boss? What's up, Suspense? I'm training large sports groups. We only really have time to build up with ascending weights for about 5 to 6 total sets per exercise 1 time a week. No, you don't. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Every time you have you're doing a main lift, you got to do some kind of assistance in between body weight. You always have time for that. There's no way you're taking 10 seconds rest in between. When you squat, you always got time for push-ups. Always. When you're doing bench, you always got time for chin-ups or squats or something like that, or lunges or sit-ups or crunches or leg raises. That's what I would 1,000% recommend, and that's going to help increase their general physical preparedness quite a bit and get a little extra work in. My big lift, I don't know what you have access to. The other thing, Suspense, he's asking what thoughts I'm sorry, what are your what lifts he should do, the main lifts. Listen, the 2 things that need to come into play is, 1, what you feel comfortable coaching, right? And what you feel comfortable, what you have access to. So for example, if you don't have squat racks, you can't squat. So I don't know what you have access to. I'll just assume that you have regular racks. So I would squat, I would bench, and I would do, I think the trap bar is amazing. If you don't, you can do double overhand deadlifts, I think are really good. Just generally getting stronger. Those 3 things. If you feel comfortable teaching hang cleans or power cleans, and the kids are physically, they have good GPP and they can do it. And they're all coached up, so you don't have to spend too much time coaching them. That's something you could do. So, and I'll give you another thing. If you're doing trap bar or deadlifts, you can go in the rack, and the assistance exercise can be the overhead press. Boop, boop. Our kids do it all the time. All the time. We're always moving around. So there's no reason you can't do it. I refuse your assertion that you only have time to build up for 5 or 6 total steps, because you could always do something in between. Always. So that's what I would do. Again, squat, the bench. Those would be, if I had to just choose 2, those would be it, because you can always get your pull-ups in. You can always do push-ups and all this other stuff in between dips. Another thing that we do in between, especially when we're deadlifting, we just set up the dip bars. boop, boop, boop. And I always tell the kids, you don't have, if you don't want to do them, you don't have to. But if you want to be a dude, you do them. And everyone's like, oh my God, I don't want to not be a dude. All right, here we go. Boy. Jeremiah says, good morning, boss. Good morning, Jeremiah. I was just curious if you were familiar with and or had tried out any of the stuff put out by Ben Patrick, aka Knees Over Toes guy. No, I've seen him. Like I've seen a couple videos, but this is not in any way acknowledgement of him. I just never really watched any of it, so I have not. I know he got real popular, and I assume he's still popular. Again, I'm on my social media blackout. I'm just been 2 days, or 3 days. Not a big fucking deal. The thing, Jeremiah, I will tell you is there is probably gold in there. All right, and there's probably some trash too, just like there's gold for me and trash for me. All right, especially for your particular situation, right? There's something that you're like, oh, dude, that would definitely help, and it'd be awesome. Other stuff, you're like, hey, what's the fucking point? It's stupid. I think you can learn from just about anyone. It's as long as they have some common sense. So the only thing I always tell people is, and this isn't 100% true, is I always have a problem with people who are pushing one thing and don't acknowledge that other things have worked, and they think that if you do anything else, you're stupid or you're not going to have success. Dude, there's a million ways to get awesome. A million ways. What's this guy's name? Ben Patrick, he has his way of doing it, and it works for him. And I'm sure it works really well for the people he coaches because he understands how to coach what he's doing. That is a huge part of understanding, of getting success from people you personally work with, or your own self, as you understand and believe in it and all that other stuff. So just understand, occasionally you meet people who are like, listen, squatting and getting stronger is the worst thing you could do ever for a power athlete. You gotta, punch your IT band 6 times every day, stuff like that. I'm like, God, and then, are you wasting your time getting stronger and putting muscle? What are you, a retard? Those people just drive me nuts. And there's plenty of them out there. I mean, I know there's not a million, but there's plenty of those turds out there floating, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Listen, there's a lot of room at the fucking table, guys. Learn, put it in your training, whatever that may be, and you'll be better off for it. All right. Jonathan Crossley says, hey, I love the comment regarding your boys and family. My older son recently wanted to get into fishing. I'll fucking go fishing. Yeah. It's never been my thing, but we started going once a week, and the quality time with no distraction. Yep. Yeah. Oh, is that awesome, dude? One of the cool things is I had some family friends, my parents' friends, and then obviously they had kids, and we became friendly. Lived in, I would say, middle of Wisconsin, so definitely a little rural, at least where they lived. And they had hunting, and for those that don't know, the schools in Wisconsin, at least, I don't know if it still is like this, but they get that week off when deer season starts, and it's a massive deal. I mean, it's huge there. So that kids would get up, the kids and the dads would usually go out, and they're up at 4 a.m. finding their their stands and stuff, and they would spend a week out deer hunting and stuff. It's an awesome time for family. Anyway. Chris D says, for the Beachbody Challenge, are things like face pulls and abs still expected? If you want to do them, you don't have to do them. But if you feel like you can't go without them for that challenge, if for whatever reason, you can go ahead and do them. But you don't have to do them. You can go back to those, right? You don't have to do everything all the time. You can take some time off of shit. It's not a big deal, guys. As long as you're consistent with the majority of good things, you'll be good. Jeffrey Hewitt says, hey, a few months ago I asked about training middle schoolers and asked for advice. Long story short, here we go. The kids are ruling on the football field now. Thanks for keeping things forward and adaptable. I appreciate that, Jeffrey. And that's awesome, man. Junior high kids are tough to coach. That's why I don't do it. Angelo says, what is your favorite type of rice to use? I know there are so many different kinds of white rice, so I was curious. Also, do you utilize a rice cooker? I'm thinking about getting one. Yes, we just bought one like 3 weeks ago. I told my wife we need to get one. So what's my favorite kind of white rice? I don't know. I have no idea. My wife bought white rice. I don't know. I don't know that. I didn't know there was different kinds of white rice. I don't know. It just says white rice on there, on the bag, I guess. So I apologize, Angela. I don't know. But the rice cooker is awesome. I love like the sticky rice that you would get at like a Chinese restaurant. Love that rice. But to answer your first question, Angela, I don't know. I know like there's like basmati. Just give me regular honky rice. I'll be happy. Ken B says, morning from Calgary, Alberta. Oh boy, I missed my. Okay, here we go. Wondering where you set the machine and rope for face pulls. I was setting it above my head and then doing the exercise or below the hip. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I just set it at the top. I mean, you can go lower, right? It's a little more of a just kind of almost like an upright row. There's nothing wrong with that as long as it feels good. Listen, if you don't know, Ken, and you want to try it, doesn't mean you can't do a set of 30 here, drop it down, do another set of 30 here, put another place, do another set of... Who cares? Let it rip, man. As long as it feels okay, you get your elbows up and you're smoking the upper back and your traps look like this when you're done. That's the goal for everyone who does a face pull, is to look like this when you're done. Get rid of that stupid neck. No one needs it anyway. Mark Tuasan, I hope that answers Ken. The answer is do it wherever you want. Not a big deal, as long as your shoulders and feels good. So, Mark Tuasan says, hey, Jim, I'm about to do 531 again. Is an 80% training max too low? I'm also thinking of 85%. No, you're fine. 80%. You're good. If I were you, I would stick with 80%. Build your general physical preparedness. Stack lots of good days. Feel great. You'll thank me later. Jeremiah says, I rehabbed... Oh, shit, I got to get moving here. I rehabbed my knees with some of Ben Patrick's stuff a year or so ago. Then there you go. I assume your knees feel good. Then there's value in that for you, and I think that's awesome. Listen, there's a million great ideas out there, and there's no way that you know them or anyone else knows them all. So draw from... Just like, listen, the best way is if you're a young athlete, play multiple sports. You get exposed to all kinds of different stuff. Same thing with training. Expose yourself to different things. So what are thoughts on 5's Pro Leader with specialty bars, 531 Anchor with straight bar? I like tracking progress with straight bar, but see specialty bars as better, more comfortable movements. Any merit to that? You could try it out. The only thing is I have found out is sometimes getting back to a straight bar might feel a little awkward. So that'd be my only thing is, listen, I think that's an awesome idea. You can give it a shot. But yeah, and the other thing is there's no reason why you can't do 3 or 4 cycles of just specialty bar. Who cares? All right, then go to a straight bar, have some fun, and then maybe just use the straight bar for your main lift and using a specialty bar for your supplemental lifts. That way you can always get best of both worlds. And you're not going to really, whatever. You know what I'm saying. You're fine. Good to go, Tim. Again, I just know how it feels to go from using only the safety squat bar right back to a straight bar, and it feels really weird. Plus, your calluses on your back squatting, if you're fairly heavy squatter, they tend to go away, and it sucks. So, Mark Tuasan says, what are your thoughts on rotating variations every mesocycle? A 5-inch block pulls one cycle, then 4-inch block pulls next cycle. I know people like, you start with 1,000 pounds at an inch, and then you do 2 inches, then you do 3 inches. Sounds good, but I know that's how, what's his name? Anderson, Paul Anderson supposedly trained. Paul Anderson was an absolute fucking freak of nature, strong as shit. Doesn't mean you can't try it, Mark. I don't know. I don't think it's the people act like it's like you'll definitely squat 1,000 after like two weeks. You'll be fine. So give it a shot if you want. I just wouldn't do it. There you go. Favorite rear delt movements, and how do you usually work on posture, healthy shoulders? I try to do lots of rows and band pull-aparts, shoulder dislocations. Would love to hear what you like to use. Just rear raises on an incline bench, right? Thumbs up, and I do like 60 million of them. I always hate it when kids do an exercise and it's like, dude, you had like 50 more in you. Why didn't you do 50? Drives me bananas. I don't really work posture and healthy rows. I don't know. I don't really bother too much. I mean, plus my shoulder's fucked up. I'm going to see a surgeon on the 23rd. So hopefully I can get this shoulder fixed. I don't really worry too much about that, Angela, I'll be honest. Maybe I should have, but my shoulder kind of gave out. Listen, you're not going to bench, 600 some odd pounds over and over again and something not happen to your shoulders, at least the majority of people. You can do a lot of that stuff and try to prevent it, which I did. I was huge on doing all the rear delt work and doing all the rotator cuff stuff, and it still gave out. So I don't know. I guess just do rear raises. You can do the machine. I did that a lot when I had access to one. Face pulls, the band pull aparts and stuff. We just always, whenever we did a bench training day, we'd always do some upper back work. And it was always like, obviously you can do rows and shrugs and stuff. We always did that, but we always did like what I call like the easy, that's the stuff you do in between your sets and you snap your buddy in the face and, just farting around, but between your bench sets. So there you go. All right, Tyler Drake says, I am going to do a sled challenge tomorrow. Body weight on the sled for a quarter mile. Okay. I do down, forwards, okay, and backwards. Should I work towards a half mile or more weight? I don't know how good a shape you're in, but I will say this, Tyler, just do the body weight for a quarter mile and just see how it feels. You can always do more if you want, but that is your goal. Do not second guess or like, oh, I don't know if it's going to be hard enough. Who cares? You've never done it before. When you complete it, you have completed a challenge, and that is what's most important. Not that it's not far enough or heavy enough. Since you haven't done it, it is a challenge. Like the first time I did the Prowler Marathon, I thought, I was like, I'm going to die. Or half mile of the Prowler. And then like a couple months later, I did 30 days of the Prowler Marathon. I did, I think, 28 Prowler Marathon, or 28 half miles in 30 days. Not a big deal. So, but Tyler, the most important thing is you complete the challenge, you learn something, and you did something awesome for yourself. Don't get all wrapped up in that shit. Complete the challenge, be proud of what you did, adjust for the next day. Jeremiah says, hey, appreciate you, boss. Have a great day. Yep. Good luck to London tonight. That's right, it's homecoming. I got to get rolling here. It's homecoming tonight. We're playing Graham local. Graham, insane school for wrestling. Oh my God, they got like 1 billion state champions. Oh my God, it's crazy. It's so weird. And I would go play at Graham. It's like literally in the middle of nowhere. And somehow they got one of the best wrestling schools in the nation. Their football team's had some tough times lately. But apparently this year they're ready to fucking throw down. I'm excited. I'm ready to have a street fight. Nothing better. We get to see what our kids are made of. So anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you to everyone that watched and asked questions. I love doing this stuff. And so thank you to everyone. Anyway, have a great weekend. Do something stupid if possible, like Tyler is, doing a bodyweight sled for quarter mile. Enjoy it. Have fun. Love you guys. Bye-bye.